Good morning, Stuart Dunlop, Market Director, North Africa and Middle East, CIPD. Thank you so much for joining me today to talk about AI in human resources field.
Nice to be here, and thanks for the invite.
Thank you. So let's jump into it. Let's dive in with the most important question is, I'm an HR professional who's not super familiar with technology, and AI is everywhere. How do I make use of AI in my field?
There are many ways you can avail of the benefits of AI. I think certainly on the basis of what we are experiencing, the most important thing is to experiment. It's a mindset, and the advent of generative AI gives everyone the opportunity to experiment. And if I give a personal example, back in November, I had to do a job description. I used generative AI to do it. I did what would normally take me 2 hours in the best part of 10, 15 minutes. So I think that's an example. There is an awful lot of information available. It's a question of going out there and experimenting.
Got it. So a lot of people think of AI as Claude or ChatGPT or recently Gemini, these as new softwares or platforms where you can, like you said, you have someone to help you write stuff. I've also heard that AI started being used in recruitment and selection, and I understand the CIPD recently ran a workshop focused on AI. So what were the key findings?
Yeah, well, I think just coming back to your first remarks there, AI itself has been around a long time, and machine learning has been around a long time. What is new is generative AI, and people will be aware of ChatGPT. And the big difference really between AI, machine learning, and generative AI, I think, is the ability to create content. And that really is a bit of a game changer. So coming back to your point, we sat down with a number of HR and L&D professionals recently, and what we were asking them is to tell us what they feel the emerging trends are. And so I'm happy to share those. I think first and foremost, the feedback was AI is here to stay. More and more of their businesses are deploying AI and generative AI in projects. And as you say, those projects scan across the piece really in terms of deployment in HR, deployment in L&D, deployment in performance management across both functions. And so I'm sure we'll get an opportunity to go into a bit more detail. The important thing I think to recognize is that generative AI and these solutions don't stand on their own. This is technology that's being deployed with existing systems. So you find organizations we work with, they're integrating generative AI with existing HR platforms, LMSs, products like Workday, products like Moodle. These are things that are no longer are being integrated with AI technology to provide far more richness, I suppose, in terms of and rigor within the HR and L&D process.
Yeah, I've noticed even on LinkedIn, not that I've used it yet, you can now write a post with the help of AI. I think they realize that everybody takes the content, go to ChatGPT, then post it back. But yes, I do believe the integration is important, especially in the L&D field where it's all about content and gamification. I recently was discussing the work of Khan Academy in the US and how AI helps students, and who knows, maybe in the future we find this in the region here, especially in Arabic. Where do you see AI in the field of human resources in the next 2 to 3 years, in your opinion?
I think, well, I think again, back to my original point, we are already seeing AI and human resources being used within the region to generate new, more rigorous performance dashboards. We're seeing it being used to personalize an awful lot of employee engagement, whether it's onboarding, whether it's induction programs, whether it's understanding what some of the drivers between retention, retention performance are. So really, I think what we're going to see is more and more AI being deployed right across the KPIs that HR is usually owning within a business.
And I believe with the rise of the importance of people analytics, and you see what AI could do, I think that would save a lot of time and effort. But as you said, onboarding and recruitment. Are there any particular apps or softwares or platforms that you would recommend HR professionals to experiment with?
Well, look, the usual players are in this field, Hanan. So if you look at the IBMs of this world, the Microsofts of this world, CIPD, we work with Microsoft quite closely. You know, they all have AI offerings, and we're aware in the UAE of Copilot being deployed and Copilot licenses being deployed at many sites. So that's not a recommendation, but it's really underlining the fact that, you know, the big players are very much in this field and competing. I think it really does. How AI is going to be deployed is really going to depend on the systems that some organizations already have in place and their ability to integrate benefits of AI within those systems or potentially swap them out. Yeah.
I was asked a question recently. I've been thinking about it. I was like, do you think, Hanan, AI would make humans less intelligent on the long run? And I've been thinking about it. You know, like now you can just ask Excel to do the formulas for you and calculate things for you. You just tell it what you want. And where we had to learn all the formulas and how to do things, just as a simple example. What's your personal opinion here? Do you think it will help us or will make us less intelligent, lazier?
I don't think it will make us necessarily less intelligent. I think to an extent we are using a tool for the right job when we're using AI and generative AI. It's very interesting to peer into the future and think about, well, what are the jobs that are going to continue to need a human? And what AI can't do is have compassion or love. What it can do is automate an awful lot of processes on the basis of learned data. So when you think about the future, I guess it's about IQ and EQ. Humans are not going to beat AI when it comes to IQ, quite the reverse. But AI doesn't have EQ. And so any role that requires human engagement, human interaction, you would imagine is a role that is going to be future-proofed.
I see. I keep thinking about the future of work. You know, this is now everybody's talking about future of work. And again, people analytics and the rise of AI, and wonder what would the future be like? You know, how would that transform the HR field, the learning and development field? Would people still rely on a medium to transfer knowledge, or knowledge will be free and you just go grab it? I think the future will tell.
Well, I mean, I'm actually an optimist when it comes to the deployment of AI. Why? You will be surprised to hear that. Why am I an optimist? Because ultimately, what one can see already is that the huge benefit of generative AI is it allows you to upskill yourself. And I think if you think about the present, one of the big learnings we got through talking to our members was AI is not going to replace your job. You may be replaced by someone who's learned to use and deploy AI. So I think right now it's as simple as that. But I think the benefits of AI in terms of employee engagement, employee development, personal development are huge. And these are benefits that businesses can and will realize, I think, in the relatively short term.
So just to recap, what you advise any HR professional who's not used AI yet is to just play with it. It's to experiment, correct?
Experiment and talk to your peers. Learn that. I would be very surprised if in any organization of any scale there is not a discussion ongoing about, well, how can we use particularly generative AI moving forward. And it's really important, as representatives of the HR and learning and development community, it's really important that HR and L&D individuals are at that table, because it will undoubtedly touch and impact the workforce.
Yeah, and we need to speak the lingo of the business and now the lingo of technology.
Absolutely. And I think we have to come at it. There's no doubt, no one's naive. There is no doubt that businesses are thinking hard about the efficiencies that can be driven by AI. But that shouldn't cloud our reason, because there are also enormous benefits for existing and future employees.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Stuart Dunlop, Market Director, CIPD, Middle East and North Africa. Appreciate your time. Thank you for your insights.
Thanks, Hanan.